Wassail, beautiful people. I'm in a pre-Columbian or pre-colonial museum, and I have seen the most stunning ceramics. I have a much better appreciation and understanding of the purpose of shamanism. It's not really a word that covers the diversity of spiritual magic that took place in the early cultures here in Ecuador. And just here in this part of the museum is the most beautiful fig tree in a little garden that I have at the moment to myself. Maybe I could put this, let's put that over there. That's a better kind of angle. That's better. So I was having a day off. I had a day off yesterday because I haven't had a day off in so long. And everything went crazy yesterday. I kept getting lost or getting into a taxi and no one knew anything of where I wanted to go, and there was a very strange energy. Now today everything feels fluid. I've been in the historic old town, as I say, learning something wonderful about magical, mystical, esoteric moments. And so I just thought I'd sit down here. I feel magical sitting here. I feel connected to ancestors. So what do I want to say? Ancestors and remembering ancestors, honoring the dead, is about seeding life. So there's something about when you bury the dead, you're planting a seed, and the energetic containment of bones, which is why shamans often wear bone things, is like a uterus of life. And that's what I'm feeling today. And it made me think of how I'm always drawn to cemeteries and how life-affirming cemeteries feel to me. It's a really interesting energy. It's also fascinating that here, this is a fig tree. And do you remember when I was in Portugal? I did a reading underneath a fig tree, and we talked about how ficus, in all its varieties, including Ficus elasticus, the rubber plant, and the strangler figs, and how they all have their own individual wasps that fertilize them. It's reminding me of that frequency as well, going back to the fig. Maybe I kept thinking, do I need to consider my personal Yggdrasil tree as a fig for the moment? Because I think there's a tendency for it to be an ash. And I love the idea of it being an alder tree. Oh, hang on, without knocking the phone over, I can show you, because I've got this book. There's a tree here called Huasango, which is Loxopterygium husiango, a tree characteristic of the southwest coast of Ecuador, known as a source of extremely fine and durable rot-resistant wood. But what I wanted to show you here was some of the most amazing ceramics. I mean, before I do the cards, I had to go downstairs, and these are 4,000. They're called monoliths, and they're stone ancestors, because stone is a very good connection to the spirit world. And this culture are kind of 4,000 before the Common Era to 1,500 before the Common Era. So they're very, very old. They're 6,000 years old, and they're the Valdivia or Valdivia. And I'm curious as to why these are used there, but I'm going to ask Olga about that. But look at these incredible ancestor sculpture monoliths. Just incredible. Whether there's some on the next page as well. No. Next page is all about the primordial world. Spirals are the chaos and the continuity of life force in the universe. The iconography of the primordial world consists of representations of non-ordinary reality. Spiral-shaped bottles and ceramic stamps with maze-like designs suggest the simultaneous chaos and harmony of the spiritual forces that once characterized the cosmos. Interestingly, further on in the exhibition, whether I can put my hands on the images quickly, but spirals on the top of heads and on the back of heads. And there's a real sense of that being a kind of consciousness conduit in which we interpret chaos and harmony of the world around us. I mean, there's truly the most stunning thing. Look at these golden, they're made of gold, and they're little choclo, little ears of corn, maize oro, I'm guessing. What else can I show you in here that was truly remarkable? Oh, zoomorphic figurines, which is when shaman become something else. So they transform into other creatures to do their kind of visits into the spirit world. And they talk about there being three kinds of axis mundi energies. So the heavens, where the gods live, the world where we live, or where living beings are, the world around us, and then the underworld, which can be our ancestors, but it can also be the energy of gods that work and function within that world. Oh, look at this on the top of the head, which I didn't see when I saw the figure myself. It's got the Andean cross on the top of its head. Again, everything's to do with shamans finding energies that are ponds and pools. So all of these stones, they have little tiny pools in, so that you could scry and dive into the portal that opens the access to other worlds. This is truly the most beautiful museum. Libation, where this would have been filled with chicha. And I just read the most fantastic article about how chicha is still banned in Colombia. It was banned in the 1940s and they never rescinded the rule. So it means there's no regulation, and there's two different types of chicha, and I can't remember the name in Peru. There's chicha, the normal fermented one, but there's also another one done in the rainforest, which is why they banned and tried to sort of say in Colombia that chicha was dangerous. But the wisest women would chew the corn and then spit it in to create what would become the mother fermenting solution. But as they chewed, these wise women, these cunning women of the different groups that were here and communities would put their wisdom into the drink that you could then drink. And this was a libation vessel where you could give offerings to the land. What else do we have in here that's just completely stunning? I still haven't finished going through the whole museum, but I got to this bit here and I just thought I need to make a video. I wasn't going to do any videos today. I really wanted to have some time to just think, but I'm just inspired by this. The ceramics here. It's truly amazing. This guy's fascinating. Look at him. He actually has a little bit of facial hair, which is not often seen in the earlier cultures. Look at this. I mean, wonderful, with wonderful wings at the back. Anyway, you can all book a flight and come visit this museum. Let's just see if there's a message from the spirits. Is there a message from this Yggdrasil tree in the middle of this little stone courtyard? I get a sense that there's been hummingbirds, Calabri. That's so weird. I actually heard the Spanish word in my head before the English. There's an energy of purging. I've got Dej, end of the Elder Tooth arc. There's something about that. There's something about this being the end of an epoch. Or the end of, not necessarily, well, maybe an epoch, but the end of a particular pattern that needs to be left. I also ran into a couple of women who told me I needed some red beads to protect me from evil spirits. And here I was reading about how many of the shaman priests, you know, holy men and women of each different grouping here, they were often seen as warriors, and they would actually arm themselves before doing shamanic practice. And that's never been something that I've had a need to do. And yet here, I do think I've been running into some darker energies that can play with your swelterness. Because I've been being incredibly triggered. So it's interesting. 24 is 6. Gar is here, the harvest, the future is 12, 3. And then Hagal is 9. So I do have this energy confirming almost the axis mundi. And there's something about this journey being something that many of us do, many of us go through. It's interesting, they're showing me, they were making me pile this to talk about like a sense of being half-hearted about something, not doing the complete truth behind something. So the axis mundi, the divine world, you see, I feel like this is the divine world. This feels more like the underworld, and then this feels like the world in which we live. Yeah, the outer world, the divine inner world, and the divine lower world. Fascinating energy. And it came with Condor, which is to find a way to let go of doubts. And I've had a lot of cosmic doubt in the last, I would say since December. It's been an energy that keeps coming up for me to face. So now they're giving me ringing in my ears. So, without the cards, I just want to feel into the energy of space, the energy of place, the energy of my own ancestral line. So I'm being given the sense of horse, movement, move. I'm also being shown chariot. I'm also being, it's time to push energy forwards in a new direction. That's the frequency that I'm getting here. Really essential to move. It's to move from the old. So to move from the energies that keep you trapped, it's not that you physically necessarily have to move a space, it's a concept. Move your mind of the concept, transform the energy. So I'm going to just take the runes and just ask, before I go, is there any other little message? The ancestors, place. Oh, that's a bit of a big. Oh, that's interesting. It's kind of dropped on. No, I'm not going to take those. I'm going to put all of those back in. I've got another 6, 3, 3. 2 Ganunga gaps. Oh, I can smell burning. I hope it's not the museum. That was an interesting, a really opening energy. So you have Gar, and you have Oath. So they're really making me very aware of the transformation between Anzus, A, and Os, how it changed in the Anglo-Saxon to something else. It's time to open space to Ganunga Gap. Oh, what was that bird? I might need to put my glasses on. Open space and fill your vessel anew. Fill your molecules anew with some kind of new energy. Interesting. So the first 2 that came was you're moving into a rare alignment. Maybe it is to do with the solstice, but an energy of new wasp frequency rising. Oh, there it is. I can see it. It's a blackbird of some kind. So this rare alignment will cause you to become impassioned about something. Just gone up to the roof area. And then look at this. Look at the actual rune shapes. It's like at this point a new cosmic directive will move through you at this rarefied alignment. Coming into yourself, becoming something new. So, beautiful museum. Speak to you all soon.